Hey guys, Steve here, and today we're going to be putting a new set of strings on this Yamaha guitar, which is my granddaughter's, and she has not liked that the strings on this are a little heavy, so we're putting these Dean Markley lights on. And to do this, we're going to be using a crank, and the crank has the pin puller right here in the end, in case your guitar has the pins as opposed to the holes to put the knots on the end through. And then I'm going to be using a little hammer to tap them in, because when you tighten the strings up, they try and pull out. So let's go ahead. We'll get started with the E string, the low E string. And on this one, you turn them clockwise and see how fast it is to wind them down, get them loose. This one does not crank as easy. Must need a drop of oil on the gears. Okay, and then to pull the pins out, see the pins right here holding the strings in. So you take this little thing, slide it under, and just wiggle it around a little bit. That pin. Now, some of the pins may have slots in them that correspond to the string thickness. So I like to keep them in the same hole just to make sure that I get the right one with the right string. There you have it. 3 of them pulled out. And then on the other end, just unwind it, pull it, unwind it, pull it, unwind it, and pull it. So 3 off, and then did that string go in the hole? That would be funny. I don't know what's in the hole. Maybe Chase has put something. Nope, that string went in the hole. Is that hilarious? Never had that happen in 45 years, even though I'm 66. Really only started playing the guitar in a Catholic folk group at Our Lady of Lourdes Church in Columbus when I was 16 years old. I was also an altar boy, and I had moved up to the level of top altar boy doing the 12:15 service with me and another guy named Brian Kavanaugh. We did the number one, what is considered the number one service of the church. We did it every week. So the strings come wound up. The last set I had 4 wound together and then 2 wound together, whereas this one has 2, 2, and 2. If it's okay, I'm going to put some old man glasses on because it's hard for me to tell the thickness. All right, so here's the low E. Pop it back in. So you put it in the slot, try and get the nut on the end, or whatever they call that little thing on the end. I'm sure it has a name, but I do not know it. So feel free to leave the name in the comments. Sometimes you got to work with them a little bit to get them down in. Then I bang it a little with the hammer. And then when you put the string on, in this particular on this particular kind of guitar, I like to wind the string so it lines up best with its placement. So I have the strings coming down the center. So normally I like to leave about this much slack in the string before I start winding it. And then I try and press it down so that it'll wrap around the bottom of the post and push up toward the top. Now when you put a new string on, it's going to have to stretch somewhat. So normally I like to tune it a little higher so it'll overstretch it. And I use an app called Guitar Tuner, which is that icon there. Looks like a pick. There, so I tuned it a little bit higher so that it will stretch out. Okay, well let's try the second string. And the strings come wound together. These ones have three sets of two wound together. So you see how they look. I just want to make sure that the one I'm using is the A string. So once again, pull the pin out. Well, that pin has gotten stuck into the hole. So I'll use the puller again. Sometimes they're a little hard to get down into the hole. Then I'll tap it with the hammer. I'll leave about the same amount of slack. About that much. And like I said, I'll try and push it down so it'll wind from the bottom toward the top. Got this one in the wrong slot. There it goes. Also, it's probably good to give your strings a couple days before trimming them, because if it gets loose because you don't have enough wound on there, so there you go. And I'm gonna pause the video for a minute and I'll do the other strings, and then I'll show you the last one and tuning it up. So I know I said that I leave about this much gap in the string to tighten up, but with the bottom string, the high E, probably better to leave more so that it can wind around the shaft a few times. Now when you're turning the pegs, the pins may loosen up, so if you have something to a little hammer to bang them down. You're putting new strings on, it may take them a while to get where your tuner will read them. So you know your standard tuning where you go to the 5th fret on the E to tune the A. Turns out that one's a little high. I told you I tune them a little bit high to stretch them out more, because then it'll be less work to get it to hold the tune later. So on my tuner, I'll tune it about 2 clicks higher. Now, so you know to tune that you tune on the 5th fret for the A string, 5th fret on the E string for the A string, 5th fret on the A string for the D string, 5th fret on the D string for the G string. Whoa, listen to how low that one is. And then the 4th fret on the G string for the B string. And listen to how low that one is. And then back to the 5th fret on the B string for the E string. And when I say on it, I mean that you're trying to get the sound to be the same from the 5th fret on the E for the A, 5th fret on the A from the D, 5th fret on the D to the G, 4th fret on the G for the B, and 5th fret on the B for the E. Now, it's tuned a little high, but I'll tune it back down whenever I go to record another video with music. So that's just to allow the strings to stretch out. And there you have it, all done. All the pins are staying in good. I'll have to trim these with my cutters, although I may loosen them and wind them a couple more times around, because on the big strings I only want 2 around. I like to go 3 around it. So there you go, and you guys have a great day. Oh, let me take these off for the end. You guys have a great day. Bye-bye.